Are you experiencing strain in your eyes, maybe from looking at these screens a little too often? Well, in this video, I'm going to share 10 different simple strategies for you to help relieve eye strain. My name is Seth Dellinger. I'm a Feldenkrais practitioner in Washington, D.C. I think this video is going to help you a lot, but if you would like some even more targeted individual attention, you can check the link below this video to get in touch with me, and we'll do a call, see how I can help you. Now, it's worth mentioning that although it's beautiful to relieve the tension in your eyes, when you do that, you're actually doing yourself a favor for your entire nervous system. The eyes are so central to how we move through the world that if we have an issue with the eyes, let's say that I can't really see out of one eye so much, and so I turn my good eye towards the world, and this changes how I hold my head. Or if I'm squinting all the time, that's changing the expression of my face. It's changing the level of tension in my neck. So there's a lot of ripple effects when we're able to relax the eyes. Okay. Oh, and one more thing is I'm going to sit here in front of the camera to do this for you, but everything I'm going to show you, it would be really nice to actually lie on your back on the ground to do this. But you can also, like me, you can be upright, you can be sitting in a chair, that's fine too. So let's begin. The first simple thing you can do for your eyes is simply give them a break. Close your eyes and cover your eyes with both hands. Now, just for a moment, if you would open your eyes again so I can show you something. The way I like to do it is to put the heel of my hand on the cheekbone, and then I can put the fingertips on the forehead, but I'm leaving some space so that I don't press on the eyeballs. That's actually going to be going in the wrong direction for what we want. So there's space, but I really want to fully seal the light out of my eyes. And then maybe with the second hand, depending on the shape of your face and your eyes, I sometimes like to even overlap the fingers. But if it works for you, you can have the fingers side by side. But really trying to eliminate any cracks. And then once the eyes are fully covered, just breathing, right? Just really relaxing. So feel where can you have your elbows so that, if you hold your elbows out like that, that's going to be more work. Maybe they can just hang directly down over your chest. And think of your hands as being very soft and just breathe here. Now, notice what you see behind closed lids, because it's probably dark in there, right? But there might actually be some movement or some flashes or shapes, colors, and this gives you a sense of the activity in your optic nerve. And when the nervous system calms down, when the activity in the optic nerve calms down, you'll see it gets a little darker in there, it gets a little quieter. So after we try some of the other ideas that I'm going to show you, we'll come back and we'll see if what we see behind closed eyes has changed at all. Okay, so let's look at a second strategy, and keep your eyes open just for a moment so you can see how this goes. But very simply, I'm going to take the fingers of one hand and trace around one eye. Now you can close the eyes to do this. But the point is just to find the bones, to find the ridge around the eye. And go very slowly here. Be curious, because you'll find that there's these little ridges and pockets. There's just little interesting kind of shapes in the bone, right? And you're really looking for a skeletal connection between the bones in your fingertips and all around the eye. And so I'll close my eyes now. You can take all the time you wish to do this, but if you go around 2 or 3 times, that's probably good. So once you've done that, you can pause. And now just notice, before you do the other side, what's the feeling of one eye and the other eye? You might get a sense that one eye feels a little larger than the other. Or you might just get a sense that the muscles all around the one eye where you were touching, they might feel a little more relaxed than on the other side. Okay, so of course you can do that on both sides, but I'm going to move on to the third strategy, which is really, it kind of builds on what we were just doing anyway. So I'll just briefly return to this idea, tracing with the fingers of my right hand around the right eye. Okay, but now I'm going to introduce a new idea, and that's just to pause somewhere. Let's say you put one fingertip somewhere on the corner of the eye socket, or you put the finger somewhere on the edge of the eye socket, and now breathe in. And what you're going to think is, in a funny way, you imagine that, like that point where you're touching, it's as if you could breathe into that point, as if that was one of your nostrils. Breathe in as if you're breathing into exactly that place where your finger is touching. And then maybe once or twice you do that, and then you just move a little along the ridge of the eye, and you breathe in again, as if you were breathing into that new point. And you're just going to keep picking points all the way around the eye, but you breathe in, and you just put your focus there. Of course, the air doesn't actually go into that place, but you kind of use that image. And you just go all the way around the eye like that. And so that's kind of a variation on what we were already doing, touching and moving around the eyes. Okay, time for a fourth strategy. So we're going to work with one eye at a time again. So you can cover the eye that you're not working with, but one eye is open, and now you're going to bring the thumb, I'm using my left thumb in front of my left eye, and look at the thumb. It's right up close, and then you're just going to simply move it out and move it back in. But go very slowly, and you can maybe feel how you have to change the length of your focus. And it could be a nice thing to breathe with these movements, right? So maybe breathing in as you move the thumb out, exhaling as it comes back. And you could also reverse that. You might find you like it better to breathe out as the thumb is moving away, and breathe in as the thumb is coming back. Now, you could actually do this with the eyes closed. And so I'll just switch sides, but it's as if you're looking at the thumb. Obviously, you can't actually see it with the eyes closed, but you can probably sense that it's further away and it's closer in. And you can actually get a similar effect, and maybe you like it better with the eyes closed. Now, a last variation is to work with both eyes together, and I think I'll close the eyes. Now, when you look with your two eyes, you generally see one thing, but you could try to imagine that each eye looks at the thumb that's directly in front of it, and then you might even try moving one out and the other one in like this. And it might cause you to turn your chest and your head just a little bit. That's fine. But the point is to go gently, to go slowly, and to breathe simply as you do so. Okay, moving on to strategy number 5. So I'll just remind you, this could be really nice if you're lying on your back, but I am sitting here in front of the camera. So my eyes closed, and now with the fingers of one hand, what I'm going to begin to do is actually trace my whole face. So I'm starting at the hairline, coming down in front of one ear, along the jaw, chin, and then I'm going to come up the other side. And you can spend a moment just in the same way when you were touching around your eye and you were getting interested in the shape. You can find the little shapes along your jawline. But then once you establish this, begin to, again, think that you're looking at your fingertips. So I'm looking over to the left to see my fingers, even though the eyes are closed, and then down. I'm going all the way around, but I'm going to give you a few specific ideas here, because what you might notice is at a certain point your eyes, they fall behind the fingers, or maybe they jump ahead. And so what you're going for, ideally, is that the movement of the fingers is constant. The eyes are always with the fingers. And then while you're doing this, you're breathing like a baby. There's no restriction on the breath. And of course, you can go in the other direction, right? And maybe you do this for a while, you're going around, and you take a break. Then, of course, you can use your other hand, and you can spend a few minutes with this, right? But I'm going to show you one more variation. Once you've been around a few times, then you could start to, when you come up past the ears, you could start going around the outside of the ears. And it just creates a slightly different pathway, a slightly different shape. Go behind the other ear, or you might even just trace around one ear for a while. So if I'm tracing the left ear, of course my eyes are oriented to the left, so that bias is going to be noticeable for a certain amount of time. And you could stop there, right, after tracing one ear for a time, and then you could go to the other. And again, you could combine these in different ways, but just by doing this and really, again, keeping the eyes and the hand really in sync, keeping the breathing soft. Of course, you may notice that you do make little mistakes, that's fine, but the point is you pause, you catch yourself, and you keep coming back to this idea that they're really moving together. Okay, so we've done a few different strategies here, and let's go back to what we did in the beginning just to see if anything is different if you cover the eyes again. Now, it's possible that it's very similar. It's not necessarily to be expected that there should be a dramatic difference, but some folks, if you've been following along with the different things we've done so far, you might actually notice it's a little darker or a little quieter here. And whatever you notice, you could use an idea that you were looking at a canvas and you could imagine you had a paintbrush with some black paint. And just imagine slowly painting another layer of dark paint over the canvas. Just see if the idea of inviting more dark allows you to calm the activity a little more in the optic nerve. So our sixth technique is actually going to build again on this idea of covering the eyes, but we're going to actually cover and uncover the eyes, and what we'll find out is how do the eyes respond to the light. So again, begin with the eyes closed and covered, but then if you if you uncover your eyes so you can see me for a moment, I'm just going to work with one eye again. And now what I'm going to do is, like a swinging door, I'm just going to open a crack so some light comes in and then close it. And what you can see here is I'm sort of swinging the door open on the inside of my eye. And the thing to do here is just to be really present to the feeling in the right eye as a little bit of light comes in. Does something change? And then what changes when you close that door again? After you've done that a few times, you can open the outside. So light comes into the outside of my eye, and then I cover the eye. Right? You can spend a minute or so in each of these locations, but I'll just go through them all. Now I'm lifting the heel of my hand, so it's like the bottom half of my eye gets exposed to the light, and then it's covered up, and of course I could do the same along the top. Okay. And then if I pause, this is another one of those things where if you work with one eye and then the other, it might just be nice to see what's the feeling in the eye that you just worked with before you go to the other side. But what you're doing here is you're just slowing down that process of how the eye takes in the light so that you can feel how it adjusts to different levels of light. And of course, you could do the other eye, or you could even work with both eyes, right? And so there's different ways you could do it. You could open the space along the inside or the outside, or you could do different combinations like opening the top in one place and the bottom in the other. So you can just do these little hand movements, but go gently. Your breath is always a nice guide to make sure that everything is calm and easy. Okay. Okay, this next one is really simple, but I really love this one. And it just goes like this. Close your eyes, and now keep them closed, but imagine that you open the eyes. The eyes are actually closed, but you imagine that you just open them, and then you imagine that you close them again. So in other words, you imagine opening and closing the eyes, but the eyes are always closed. But when you move between these two positions in your imagination, just see if you can feel that subtle change. And you can do this with one eye at a time. So I just imagine opening and closing my left eye. And as you do that, just breathe simply, but maybe you can even feel that something changes in the side of the neck, where you're thinking of opening and closing the eye. You can just have your attention throughout the muscles of your face. So you're doing just this very small activation by thinking of opening and closing the eyes, but actually keeping the eyes always shut. Okay, next strategy. This is number 8. And you might have enjoyed looking at your nose when you were a kid, right? Get yourself cross-eyed and then let go. But let's do this with the eyes closed. So just look towards your nose, and of course it gets very narrow, and then you let go. Look towards your nose and then let go. But now, as you do this, as always, letting the breath be simple, start to get interested in that movement away from the nose. And think that you could actually move your eyes to look a little away from each other, like the left eye was looking at the outer corner of the socket, and the same thing on the right, as if you were going to try to look towards both of your ears. And most people can't actually move their eyes apart very much, but just again, notice the feeling. And if you like, you could, I'm just using my fingers to kind of give a visual for the video, but you could, if you like, you could actually hold your fingers like this. And if you like, you could zoom them out even further and imagine following your fingers out past your face. So it's a widening and a narrowing of the eyes. Okay, on to our 9th strategy now. And what we're going to do is we are going to coordinate the movement of the eyes and the tongue. And so I'm just going to show you quickly the different tongue movements, but when we actually do it, we want to take our time. And I'm just going to brush my teeth with my tongue, basically. I'm going to move from the center out to the back. Like that. I'm going to move much slower. But just notice you can go along the top of your teeth on the outside of the teeth, then you can go on the inside, on the back side of the teeth, and you can do this along the bottom as well. Okay? So the thing is, though, you're going to do this very slowly, and you're going to imagine, I'm going here to the right, that you watch the tip of your tongue with your right eye. Okay, so I'm showing with my finger, but the idea is to go slow enough that your tongue can sort of feel the ridges between each of the teeth, because we don't want to dart the tongue and the eye around. We really want to go slow. And then if you go to the back side of your teeth, what you're going to notice is the eye actually will adjust. The eye knows that the distance to the tip of the tongue is a little different when you move along the back side of the teeth. Again, I'm doing the right eye and the tip of the tongue going from the center out to the right, and then I can go along the bottom teeth on the front side. Right? Maybe do 3 or 4 movements out and back in each of these 4 positions, and the last one would be on the back of the teeth, following with the eye. Do the one side, pause, feel inside your mouth, feel the face, the eye, what's different, then go ahead and do the other side. Okay, for our very last strategy, I'm not going to demonstrate because this is one where you probably don't want to be upright. We want to let the eyes hang. So you could either lie on the floor on your belly if you like, resting your hands, resting your head on your hands like this, or you could just be in a chair and lean forward and hold your head in any position that's comfortable. But what you're wanting to do is create a situation where gravity invites your eyes to hang out of the sockets. And so once you're in a position where you can do that, I think for the best effect, lying on your belly, just really enjoy that feeling of the eyes hanging down. And you can imagine that you're looking through your hands, you're looking down into the earth, all the way down into the core of the earth. Like you're looking at something far, far away. And then just for a moment, think of pulling your eyes back into the sockets. And so if you're facing down, this means you're pulling your eyes up against gravity. You're going to feel that takes some effort, and you can maybe imagine, if you're still thinking that you're looking at something, that it's come up very close to your eyes and you're moving back, but then you just let go again, right? Let the eyes hang again. And it can be nice to do this with one eye at a time as well, letting the right eye hang, drawing it in and letting it hang again, and then going to the left eye. Okay, so that is 10 different ways that you can work with your eyes to release tension. Now that you've been through them all, if you like, you could one last time cover your eyes and just see if something's different behind those closed lids, behind your hands. You can imagine painting that canvas with another layer of black paint. But hopefully this has helped you relieve some of your eye strain, and you have 10 different strategies that you could use just for a few minutes, maybe in the middle of your workday or whenever you're experiencing a little bit of eye strain. And before I go, I'll just let you know that I have another video with a full awareness through movement lesson. So that's about an hour of your time. But if you really want some deep relaxation, go check out my awareness through movement lesson called Orbiting the Eyes. And I think you'll see how it connects to the things that we did together in this video. Once again, I'm happy to work with you individually. If you want to contact me, check out the link below this video. And thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel to stay in touch. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.